My parents had a remarkable talent for making me feel small. Not through shouting or dramatic punishments, no. Their cruelty was quieter, sharper, disguised as disappointment and sighs that echoed louder than any insult could. To them, I was the child who never matched the blueprint they had laid out long before I was born. They wanted a prodigy, a trophy daughter, someone who fit into their world of flawless business presentations and polished reputations. Instead, they got me. I wasn't reckless or irresponsible. I simply loved something they didn't understand: aviation. While other kids played with dolls or video games, I sat for hours sketching engines, watching airplane takeoff videos, and calculating fuel efficiency like it was a game. I thought passion was something parents celebrated. Mine treated it like a stubborn stain they couldn't scrub out. Whenever relatives visited, the comparison game began. My cousins were endlessly praised. One was in med school, another interning at a law firm. My parents practically glowed when they spoke about them. Then the spotlight would shift to me, and the atmosphere would turn uncomfortable, as though merely acknowledging my existence embarrassed them. Once, I excitedly brought home a small drone I built from scratch for a school competition. My father barely looked up. "You really think this is going to be useful? You're wasting your time on nonsense." My mother added softly, not kindly, "You should focus on something realistic for once." Their words settled in my chest like stones, but the night everything shattered was during a family dinner. A celebration for my cousin's new banking job. Everyone clapped, toasted, beamed with pride. Then an aunt asked casually, "And what about your daughter? What's she doing now?" I opened my mouth, ready to speak. My father beat me to it. "Nothing," he said loudly, laughing as though I were the punchline of a joke. "She's doing absolutely nothing. We raised a failed daughter." Failed. The word sliced through me like a blade dipped in cold poison. The room fell silent. My cheeks burned, my throat tightened. My mother looked away, quietly agreeing through her silence. In that moment, I realized something painful. They didn't see me. Not the hours I spent studying. Not the dreams I nurtured. Not the determination I carried. I excused myself, walked to my room, and packed. My hands shook, but my resolve didn't. When I came back downstairs, my father looked annoyed. "Where do you think you're going?" "Somewhere you don't get to decide," I answered. I walked out that night with nothing but a suitcase, my notebooks, and a heart bruised but not broken. They called me a failure. I decided I would prove them wrong without them ever knowing how high I'd rise. Leaving home should have felt terrifying, but instead, it felt like breathing fresh air for the first time. There was fear, yes, but beneath it, a fierce determination burned inside me. I used the one thing my parents underestimated most: my ability to survive without them. I worked nights at a small cafe, studied during breaks, applied for scholarships with shaky hands, and attended classes fueled by cheap instant noodles and stubborn hope. Every long shift, every sleepless night, every quiet tear shed in a cramped hostel room, it all sharpened me. It made me hungrier, stronger, focused, and soon the world finally responded. I earned a full scholarship to a prestigious aviation engineering program, something I had once imagined only in daydreams. My professors saw what my parents never cared to notice: skill, passion, obsession, and the kind of dedication that refuses to die even when crushed. Recognition came in small steps: a heist, scoring project, a research paper, an internship interview that I expected to fail, but didn't. That internship, it was for Aurelius Aerospace, one of the most advanced private jet innovation companies in the world. The kind of place people spent years dreaming of joining. They hired me. I cried in the restroom for 10 whole minutes, not out of weakness, but finally feeling like the world had opened a door instead of slamming one in my face. Within 2 years, hard work pulled me upward. I became part of a confidential jet innovation project, one whispered about in elite business circles, yet unknown to the public. The kind of innovation that only billionaires, foreign delegations, and private royalty used. My role grew. My responsibilities expanded, and with each success, my confidence stitched itself back together. Meanwhile, fate was busy weaving a different story for my parents. Their consulting business, once polished and admired, began losing clients. Rumors spread. Their reputation cracked under financial pressure and poor decisions. They tried everything to regain ground, but every effort sank deeper into failure. Their last lifeline was a major corporate client, Calden Hale, a high-net worth investor with global influence. Landing him would restore their sinking empire. Losing him would destroy it. They wanted to impress him so desperately that they even told him their daughter was thriving abroad. Successful. Well supported, they painted a picture of a perfect family to hide the ruins underneath, but destiny wasn't finished with them yet. One crisp morning, an email landed in my inbox, private meeting. Aurelius Aerospace / Calden Hale location. Solace private jet terminal, my heart stilled. My parents had arranged to meet him the same day. We were on a collision course, a confrontation shaped by lies, truth, and the fate they had once tried to bury. And for the first time, I wasn't the one who needed to be afraid. The Solace private jet terminal didn't look like an airport. It looked like a silent kingdom made of glass and marble. Everything felt polished, exclusive, untouched by chaos. The air smelled faintly of jet fuel and luxury cologne, mixed with the low hum of engines preparing for flight. I arrived early, wearing my navy blue Aurelius Aerospace uniform. The tailored fabric hugged my shoulders, the company emblem gleaming on my chest. It wasn't just a uniform, it was proof of every night I fought alone, every tear I swallowed, every insult I turned into fuel. I walked through the terminal, acknowledging security staff and engineers who greeted me respectfully. It felt surreal sometimes, knowing people looked at me with admiration after growing up in a home where my worth was measured in disappointment. I was reviewing my notes when I heard footsteps echoing down the hallway. 3 sets, calm, businesslike, and slightly rushed. I turned instinctively and froze for half a second. My parents, and between them, walking with the confident ease of someone used to commanding rooms, was Calden Hale. My breath stilled, but my expression didn't crack. I had learned control. My mother stopped mid-sentence when she saw me. Her eyes widened, her lips parted. Shock washed over her face like she'd seen a ghost wearing a uniform she never believed I deserved. My father stiffened, his grip on his leather briefcase tightening, but Calden smiled warmly. "There she is," he said with genuine enthusiasm. "My favorite engineer. The one I keep telling you both about." The words hit my parents harder than any slap could. He walked straight to me, extending his hand. "A pleasure to see you again." I shook it confidently. "Likewise, sir." My parents looked like statues, pale, silent, cracking at the seams. A flight attendant approached. "Ma'am, your briefing room is ready. Also, the prototype inspection is complete." "Ma'am, prototype inspection." Every word twisted deeper into my parents' pride. Calden glanced at them, amused. "You didn't mention your daughter worked here. You said she was abroad." My mother blinked rapidly, struggling for words. That was before. We always supported her career. Supported, the lie tasted bitter even from her mouth. I held her gaze, calm, cold, unshakable. Aurelius saw value in me. I said quietly, even when others didn't. My father's jaw clenched, the weight of humiliation sinking into his shoulders. Calden watched the exchange, his eyes sharp, thoughtful. He wasn't foolish. He sensed the storm beneath the surface. "Let's head to the lounge," Calden said. "I'm eager to hear your presentation." I walked ahead, leading the way, my parents trailing behind me like shadows shrinking in the light, and for the first time in my life they had to follow me. The conference lounge overlooked the runway, its wide windows glowing with the morning sun. Inside, everything was polished wood, soft leather chairs, and screens displaying jet schematics. It felt like the kind of room where futures were decided, not begged for. I connected my tablet to the projector and began the presentation. My voice was steady, confident, shaped by years of building myself up from nothing. I explained the design upgrades, the new engine efficiency model, and the environmental innovations our team had developed. Calden nodded thoughtfully, asking sharp questions I answered without hesitation. My parents sat stiffly at the back, silent, reduced to spectators in a world they never imagined I could belong to. Watching me command the room, watching executives treat me with respect, they wore expressions I had never seen before. Shock, worry, regret, and something like fear. After the presentation, the executive stepped out to review documents. Calden lingered, hands in his pockets, studying me with quiet perceptiveness. You didn't learn confidence like that from them," he said softly, glancing toward my parents. I didn't answer at first. I didn't need to. Truth hung between us like a silent confession. My parents approached quickly, forcing polite smiles. "That was a very impressive presentation," my mother said, her voice thin. "We always knew she had potential." A lie wrapped in desperation. Calden lifted a brow. "You always supported her." My father nodded too fast, of course. "We encouraged everything she pursued." Those words snapped something inside me, not painfully, but cleanly, like the final thread of an old rope giving way. I looked at them steadily. "You encourage me," I repeated, "when you called me a failure, when you laughed at me, when you told your family I was doing nothing with my life." My parents froze, the truth stripping them bare. Calden exhaled slowly, disappointment clear. "I value honesty." "Authenticity." "The ability to uplift your own blood." His voice sharpened. "I can't partner with consultants who destroy the confidence of the people they should protect." My mother's face drained of color. My father swallowed hard. "Calden, please." My father attempted. "This is a misunderstanding. She's exaggerating." "Am I?" I whispered. They turned to me then, eyes pleading. The same lips that once called me worthless now begging for rescue. "Speak for us." My mother begged quietly. "Help us fix this." I straightened. "No," I said simply. "I built myself without you." "I won't save you." My father's voice cracked. "We're family." I stepped back. "Family doesn't break you and call it love." Calden nodded once, firmly. Decision made. I turned toward the jet as the engines hummed to life. Walking up the stairs, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Behind me stood the people who once called me a failure, watching the daughter they lost soar far beyond their reach, and for the first time ever, I felt completely free.